First, we'll start with a bridge exercise. This is meant to strengthen the gluteus maximus, but we add a band around the thighs that she'll slightly push out against, and this will target the side glutes, otherwise known as gluteus medius. To do this exercise properly, first we get people to tighten their belly button in towards their spine. Then I get them to squeeze their glutes and lift their hips as they're pressing out against the band. And then keeping the glutes squeezed all the way back down, and then relaxing. Usually I get patients to do this, or clients to do this, 3 sets of 15 to 20, depending on their fatigue level and that they can keep the contraction in their form. The next exercise is called a squat with external rotation pulses against a band. So again, you need a loop band for this. To start this exercise, I position people with their feet shoulder width apart. I ask them to tighten their core and then assume a squat position. At this point, I then ask them to pulse out with their knees and then come back to neutral. Make sure you don't duck inward. You're just going out to neutral 20 times, and about 3 sets of those. Make sure you're keeping your core tight and a good form. This exercise is called sidestepping, also known as lateral monster walks with a band. You can adjust how hard the exercise is, not only with the band width, but also where you place it. Above the knees, around the thighs is going to be the easiest. You can also work around to the ankles, and then eventually loop around the toes. We'll start around the thighs. That's usually where most people have to start. Always start with your feet shoulder width apart, toes pointed forward. When you take a step, the biggest mistake I see is people leave with their feet, which puts them in this valgus position. When she does this exercise, I want her to lead with her hip. So she's in that squat position, core nice and tight, leading with the hip. Usually we have people do this for about 50 feet or so. I tell people find a long hallway in their home. You're good. At the end of the hallway, they'll then go back the other direction. Down and back is a lap. Usually have people do 3 of these. This one is called an RDL, or Romanian Deadlift, or single leg deadlift. I usually, for me, I'm right-handed, so I typically start with my right side. Doesn't matter what you start with. Just make sure your core is nice and tight, and then you'll basically slightly bend your knees, so it's not a full bend, just a slight bend so you're not locked out. And then you're basically going to pivot off of your hips, and you'll send one leg backward, and you're going to keep your trunk nice and straight to offset the weight going backward. So go ahead, core tight, arms forward, and send your leg backward. And you can see pelvis nice and level. Your back foot, you should bend it towards your shin and almost think about pressing that foot against the wall. Just like so, and then back up. Usually I get people to do about 3 sets of 12 of these. This next exercise is called lateral jumping. If you're not into jumping, here we've got her jumping over a stack of plates. You can always just draw a line on the floor and try jumping over that initially. If you notice, we've been doing a lot of side to side today, and that gets the glutes, those side glutes, gluteus medius. With this exercise, we're powering off of that side. Feet usually start around shoulder width apart again, and it's a power position, so she's going to need to get into a squat position and then power off her legs to jump over these plates, okay? The biggest thing is making sure the core is tight, and also making sure that when you land as quiet as possible. That way your hips and knees and ankles are absorbing the impact correctly. This first exercise is called a front plank. You'll be on your forearms and toes. I usually have people make sure they contract their core first before even lifting, and when they lift, make sure that they're pressing from their stomach to the front of their hips and not thinking about pulling from their backs. Usually have people hold it for 30 seconds, about 4 times. You can make it easier by going on your knees instead of your toes. You can also go side planks on forearm, and again, side of feet. I usually put my legs together like she is. Again, making sure you're in a straight line. You can stick your arm up, and again, thinking about pressing up from the side closest to the mat and not thinking about pulling from above. Again, 30-second hold 4 times, and you can do it on the other side as well.